Hello and welcome to the unemployment vlog. I am President B. Kennedy, Pres B. Kennedy, Brandon Kennedy. Hey, nice that you're here. Anyways, I always struggle with these intros and trying to make them as short as possible, so let's just jump into it. If you're clicking this video, you probably know what it's about. I don't know what it's about yet. I just know I like doing my own employment vlogs on these nights. I had a friend a while ago who said you can skip the first 30 seconds of any YouTube video and it's scary how true that remains. Look at that, we're at the 36-second mark and just hopping into it. So anyways, one topic that was on my mind that I wanted to talk about was gender and identity and sexuality. Not in the normal constraints of it within... Oh, I guess I should do an update. We'll get back to that topic. Update for the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed the bit of content we were doing last week with Smash Brothers and unemployment vlog, and then the 2 D&D videos. I feel like 4 a week is a pretty good amount of videos to put out. With me not being a professional YouTuber or anything like that, so. Yeah, 4 a week, and 2 of those videos are 3 hours long. So yeah, you got stuff to watch. Otherwise, for this week's secondary video, I make a custom homebrewed item each week for the D&D campaign that I'm in and introduce it to the world. Tomorrow I need to make one for this week. So tomorrow I was hoping that I could walk through that process, possibly on video as I'm creating it, and maybe give you guys some insight to that process. So things to look out for the future. There's a roast tomorrow night, a stand-up comedy roast, which is going to be spectacular. It's a lot of fun. Hopefully I'll get that recorded and some audio of it uploaded, or somebody else will have some audio and I can link that in a future video. The other thing too, you guys know I talk about the Whomst Podcast a lot on this channel. The Whomst Podcast by George Collins. I will link a link in the description eventually. Well, I'll just link the base podcast and then I'll link a specific episode in the future. But I was just featured on his podcast today, so look for that coming out in the future. That was a very fun hour and a half discussion of just hitting a bunch of different topics, comedy related. That was fun to go over. Whew. All right, so with that out of the way, we're going to get back to the thing that I really wanted to talk about, gender identity and sexuality, but not in the traditional sense of, are you agendered, or I wanted to talk about it within the constraints of fantasy. And anybody who knows my world building, and there will be a lot of world building videos on this channel eventually. I love world building, favorite thing to do. Anybody who knows my world building, a lot of the ideas and things that I propose that come to fruition in the worlds I create are created around the idea that Christianity had such a heavy influence on how our world and our society developed. I live in America, and just the general ideas of like a patriarchy, of religion as an important concept, looking at gay people as like something bad with like some negative context. All of that developed because of the ideals of, Christianity just being ingrained in our culture and going forward. So when I world build, the thing I ask a lot is, how does religion develop, or how does religion influence how these people's cultures develop? And, from that, how does the world develop from these cultures interacting with each other? And in a world that I am currently DMing a bunch of games for, that concept is very heavy in that the main religion of the world, the main thing that influences a lot of society, the people worship the goddess of life. So that is a huge flip up from the modern sense of our society worshiping a God that is generally viewed as a male entity, even though God's like really genderless. And so then that influences, how people view women, how people view power structures, the concepts behind the religion is going to affect, what ideals are important to them moving forward. And just building off of that, getting to eventually building all these blocks like together and together and together, and asking these questions and then answering them and asking them and answering them and asking them and answering them, we get to gender and sexuality. So obviously in this world, a female is viewed as an object, well, not as an object, but as a physical form of desire. The god of the world is generally viewed as a female, and so then that plays back into how other people in this world view females as figures of power, as figures of power, figures of lust, figures of knowledge, figures of spirituality, and all of that playing into the human psyche then goes into the minds of the world of yes, men like women, but also women like women. And that said, being gay in this world is not, in the fantasy world that I'm talking about, isn't developed isn't in that time frame, as we are in a pre-Renaissance era of history in this world. Being gay doesn't have those negative stigmas to it that Christianity has imposed on our culture. However, they do worship the goddess of life, and life is one of the most important things. And so a piece of their culture is that relationships that produce life are often more valued in culture. Yes, a woman is a symbol of like power and other factors coming together to make them these objects that I keep using objects, and I like want to just stab myself through the brain. But these people and figures to be desired, which causes all different types of sexuality to emerge from this. And one of those is and we've made quite a few in this world, which was a lot of fun to create. One of those is a sexuality we call lifebound in this world, which is somebody harboring both of these conflicting ideas of yes, I look at a woman as I look at a woman as the symbol of like my romantic attraction, like that is who I like want to be, with somebody like that. But then also this idea of begetting life is deeply ingrained in me, and also very important to both of us. And so this new type of sexuality emerges where people are very apparent of that, of like in a sense it is bisexuality of creating life and then also being with whoever you want, but to simply deem it down to bisexuality. And this is, even though at the 9:20 mark we might go a little bit long, because this is kind of what I wanted to hit on right here, is this better way of understanding other people and how people define themselves and how other people define themselves as somebody who is bisexual, just on a basic nature, you think, oh, this person is both interested in females and males. And where that is different, that you can kind of see it coming from, is a bisexual person is actually different from somebody who is demisexual, who a demisexual person can become attracted to somebody who is either male or female or even agendered. But where their attraction springs from is not the fact of the X or Y chromosome, but is instead springing from a deep emotional attraction. And then where in our world, where all of these sexualities spring from isn't, is this person attracted to men or women, but more so why they're attracted to them in the way that they are, what inspires that attraction. And then that instead defines our genders and sexuality. So I'll give you another one that is a lot simpler to understand. Another one we came up with is somebody who is magimantic, which is a very fun word to say. But somebody who is magimantic is attracted to people who can use magic. That is the thing that compels them romantically, and that people that they fall in love with. And even though that that can be, somebody who is either male or female or something else, the basis of their attraction is built on, can they cast magic? Yes or no. And moving forward from there, that is, their gender, sexuality, identity. I say all of that because, and this is a hard topic to cover in just 10 minutes, so I will try and wrap this up. I know we just hit a little longer than 10 and told you guys you're going to be there. But anyways, I say all that to say that, it's when you start thinking outside of yourself, you can understand these things a little bit better. Things I did a lot of research into when building this chart was two-spirited people. I myself am asexual, and just looking into other sexualities and like what motivates them, what brings them to that level. And then you can take all of that and examine yourself and, come out a lot more whole of a person and be able to communicate with other people a little bit better. Lifebound maybe wasn't the best sexuality to start with as an example, but it was one of the more complex ones in the world, as far as just how deeply ingrained in the world it is. Moving from Lifebound and then to, like the other ones we have of like Mortalmantic or Magimantic, really helped me kind of understand why people choose to define themselves as the way they choose to define themselves, and the power that is in that, as far as just understanding who you are as a person and where you're going forward from. I kind of rambled a little bit there at the end, and I wish I would have tried a little bit harder to keep this to 10 minutes. But anyways, look out later this week for that episode on world building. Maybe I will tackle a part 2 of this and just like show you guys the actual sexuality chart we have and, go in depth on each one of them. Thank you for watching. I'm Brandon Kennedy. Links are in the description.